coming to my first slide. This first slide shows the two things. One is equality and the other is equity. The first thing, equality. Equality means giving everyone the same kind of a facility, same kind of a share. Say for example, there is a cricket match or a football match, or say for example a baseball match going on in a particular stadium. So we'll allow everyone to come to the stadium, but every stadium has a fence. Every stadium has a fence so that the crowd may not cross over, so that the game does not get disrupted. So there is a fence, and that particular fence has a height. Say the height of 6 feet, 7 feet, and in some cases 8 to 9 feet. And if the field is more vulnerable that the supporters can just create mess, then it can be 10 feet. Say for example, we have a sports stadium where we have a fence of 4 feet or 5 feet. A man comes in, we are just discussing equality. A man comes in with his family, say for example, he comes in with 2 sons. One is of a shorter height, another is a bit taller, and he himself is more taller. So now the fence is of a more height. So let's provide them the same kind of a thing. We'll provide them the same kind of a tool. Say for example, a tool of same height, 1, 2, 3. And tell them, get over the tool and watch the match. So the boy of a little height, despite being given equal facility, cannot watch a match. We have given him the equal facility, but he cannot watch. The next one can barely watch the match by just raising his height. And the next one, even if there is no tool, still he can watch the match. So this is the equality. But when we come to the equity, or equality we call it, when we come to equity, equity means a law which is just and fair, which provides justice. Now you are giving an equal kind of a facility, but you have to see that what is the potential of a particular person while giving a facility. Here you can see the man is now without tool because he does not require it. He does not require equality there. And the other boy, he requires a tool. That's why he has been given the tool. Now the next, he has been given the 2 tools. He has been given 2 tools. One tool of his father, which he was not requiring at all. So NEP has in the same way discussed the concept of equitable education. That is a kind of an education which will give every person a due share, which will provide a comprehensive type of education to everyone. This equity, if I can say that, this equity you can see even at your homes. Say for example, आपके घर में खाना कौन परोसती है ना? Your mother. Okay, she gives everyone his or her due share. Say for example, there's a plate in which we eat rice, don't we? There is I can say curry of having a high amount of chili, and there is one more curry which is having little amount of chili. Mirchi kam, mirchi zyada, or spices I can say. And when she starts serving food, you as an elder person get your share as per your capacity. You are given in a big plate, and you are given a good amount of food. Then there comes a share of a, for example, small child. You either give him food in little amount, or you just smash that food. या ना थोड़ा जिसको नरम करते हैं ताकि ये खा सके. Because उस बच्चे की capacity जो है, that is not like you. There we also have equity. If we take equality into consideration, say for example, then mother has to give same kind of rice, same kind of a curry to each and everyone. Say for example, there is an infant of 2-3 months. We cannot expect from a mother to give rice to that infant, because that infant is not having the capacity to take rice. But infant can take only milk. Am I right? So this policy actually believes in providing equality as well as equity. So I'll discuss a bit of scenario what is actually happening and what in what areas we need equity. See, SEDG, socio-economical disadvantaged groups. Socio-economical, those who are socially as well as economically disadvantaged. This policy has discussed about socio-economically disadvantaged groups. So, who are these socio-economically disadvantaged groups? One is females and transgenders. You know who are females and you better know who are transgenders. Scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. OBCs, other backward classes. Students from villages. Even as discussed by our esteemed head of department, Shibir Ahmed Para Sahab, that there was one policy before this policy, that is NEP, National Education Policy 1986. That had actually discussed about the rural universities, that there should be universities even in the rural areas, because people from rural areas have to actually march towards the long journeys in order to attend a particular university or a higher education institution. So students from villages and small towns and aspirational districts, they have also been included in socio-economically disadvantaged sections. Migrant communities, for example, there are migrants, say for example Biharis, we have Biharis here, we have Bengalis, we have Assamese, वगैरह जो भी यहाँ पे है. So in order to provide them equitable education, this policy has also included them in socio-economically disadvantaged sections of the society. Then 21 recognized in RPWD, Rights of Persons with Disability. Rights of Persons with Disability Act 2016. यानी कि जो person disabled है, those who are facing one or the other kind of disability, say for example somebody is having problem in leg, somebody is having problem in visual impairment, somebody is having hearing impaired, and somebody is having any other kind of a disability. They have also been included. Now these are the persons who we call as disabled. For example, blindness, low vision, hearing disabled, speech disabled, locomotor disabled, those who have muscular as well as skeletal problems, intellectual disability, which we earlier used to call as mental retardation. Then the learning disability, similarly autism and multiple disability. Now, if we talk into consideration UDICE, UDICE is actually a portal which maintains a record of all children at school level. It says that the enrollment of the children with disability 2016 and 17. 1% children with disability only there, and other rest are the normals. Now, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. We see only 19% of the scheduled caste students are there in the school. Scheduled tribe 10.75%, other children 69.7%. Similarly, at primary level, you can see what's the scenario. And now talking about the dropout, which we already have discussed in our class lecture, I believe in semester 5th. Dropout rate is very high at primary level. Yesterday I discussed with you, that is, if 100 students are enrolled in class first, only 66 reach second class, and then 32 reach up to the class 4th, and only 25 reach to class 8th. That is basic elementary education जो है वहाँ तक खाली 25 बच्चे यानी कि 25% बच्चे ही पहुँचते हैं out of 100. So there is a large scale dropout at primary level. बात आपको समझ आ रही है? So if we say dropout, at primary level it is 19.16%, at secondary level it is 17.3%, and the dropout is more severe for scheduled tribes, that is 10.6% to 6.8%, and then for the differently abled students that is 1.1% to 0.2%, with even greater declines for female students. अब अगर फीमेल है एक तो उनका डिक्लाइन वैसे ही है. नाउ इफ देयर इज अ फीमेल हु इज हैविंग डिसेबिलिटी, ठीक है, उसका तो उससे ज्यादा चांसेस है किस चीज के ड्रॉप आउट होने के. Now to drop out at primary level, अब हम देखेंगे कि अगर आपको नजर आ रहा है कि जनरल कैटेगरी का ड्रॉप आउट क्या है, शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट का ड्रॉप आउट क्या है, एंड व्हाट इज द ड्रॉप आउट ऑफ ओबीसीज. ठीक है. फॉर जनरल कैटेगरी there is a dropout of 4.7%. Means out of 100 students enrolled, only 4 students or 5 students drop out at primary level. But for SC, it is the double, that is 8.9%. Then for ST, it is similar, 8.5%. And then OBC, it is 5.95%. Then at upper primary, you can see, in upper primary, in case of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, it is 10%. And in case of elementary level, it is 4%, 8%, and secondary level, if you see secondary level, general में 15% drop out है जब secondary level तक पहुंचते हैं. Then scheduled caste में 22%, scheduled tribe में 26%, and OBC में 20%. ठीक है. Then senior secondary में भी आप देख सकते हैं कि there is drop out, यानी कि बच्चे पहले ही पढ़ाई छोड़ देते हैं. Premature withdrawal. प्रीमेच्योर विड्रॉल, यानी कि अगर उनको एलिमेंट्री एजुकेशन कंप्लीट करनी थी उससे पहले ही उन्होंने पढ़ाई छोड़ दी. नाउ दिस पॉलिसी जो है NEP 2020, इट इज डिस्कस सम रेमेडियल मेजर्स कि व्हाट आर द रेमेडियल मेजर्स थ्रू विच वी कैन स्टॉप दिस ड्रॉप आउट, थ्रू विच वी कैन just include all these socio-economically disadvantaged sections in the school. How to at least minimize the dropout. को बात आ रही है समझ? Minimize कैसे dropout करेंगे वो हमें देखना है. ठीक है. तो उसके लिए for example we have for example gender inclusion fund for girls and transgenders. Gender inclusion fund. Gender includes everyone. Mostly when we talk about gender, we just take into consideration that is a female role. But here only not only females are taken into consideration, but transgenders are also included in it. Okay. Say for example, we have a longer distance. What do we need? We need bicycle. Then we don't have funds. What do we need? We need conditional transfer, cash transfer. Okay. Then we need sanitation and toilets. As you know, most of the schools, especially the government schools, there is low level of sanitation and there are no separate toilets for boys and girls. Then resolve local and specific access barriers. Local barriers, what are the local barriers? Sometimes the road connectivity to school is not there. I came across a video once on, I believe, Gulistan News channel. It was a video where I saw 50 to 60 students taking a plastic can in their hand and they were just smashing that plastic can like a drum. Thak, 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 thak. Aapko samajh? So I thought, what is this kind of teaching? Is there any kind of teaching? Then as the journalist proceeded further, he said that actually the school is a bit far away and it passes through a jungle. And every day teacher assists the students along with these cans. They smash those cans so that a large or a huge voice or a sound is created so that any wild animal or the beast may not attack those children. उन बच्चों पर वो हमलावर ना हो जाए. Means we have one thing, that is local access is not there. We must have a local access. Local access भी होना चाहिए. Then, as you know, कि जैसे मैंने डिस्कस किया कि gender inclusion fund is there. ये जो policy है, it is in complete in consonance with right of persons with disability act 2016. इसने इसको भी endorse किया है, यानी कि accept किया है जो कि act बना था इससे पहले, policy से पहले, that जो person with disability है, they have every right to equitable education. Now, what else we can do? Or what else has new education policy done? Schools and school complexes. What does that mean? That there must be proper infrastructure in the schools. You might have seen in new buildings, especially in the government buildings, even in the private buildings as well, we have a ramp, chadai. that's for the person who is having some kind of a disability, so that wheelchair can also move up. Even buildings have ran from first floor to the final floor. पुराने में तो हमने बनवाया, ठीक है? तो आज जो नई बिल्डिंग बनती है, as per the new plan, that is a staircase from one side and from the other side it has a ramp. ठीक है? So resource center should also be there. There should be disabilities accommodation, and those persons who are suffering from one or the other kind of a disability, they should have some kind of an accommodation. Assistive devices and technology. Assistive devices mean, say for example, if a student is suffering from hearing impairment, यानी कि वो सुनने से कास है, what do? We have to give him some kind of an assistive technology. अगर हम उसको कोई hearing aid देंगे through which that person can hear like a normal person, so we can give that assistive technology to that person. Say somebody is having visual impairment. A person, for example, if a person is totally blind, we have to teach him through Braille method. So there must be books which actually help us to teach blind students, and the Braille method is the best one for the blind. Similarly, if a person is suffering from locomotor disability, he needs a wheelchair, है ना? तो ये चीजें पॉलिसी डिस्कस करती है कि होनी चाहिए. Then, for example, those who are dumb, those who cannot speak. I understand? Those who cannot speak, for them we have a sign language, ASL, American Sign Language. America में जो गूंगे हैं उनकी अपनी community है, and there is a special sign language for them that's called as ASL, American Sign Language. And you know ये ASL किसने बनाई थी? जहां तक मुझे याद है, his name is I think Douglas, लेकिन वो खुद भी गूंगा था. And जो Braille method था for blind, वो भी खुद भी इस blindness से सफर कर रहा था. Louis Braille, I believe 1929 में उसने ये मेथड बनाया था. ठीक है? तो वहां पर ब्लाइंड और साइन लैंग्वेज बनाने वाले जो है वो खुद भी इस चीज से सफर कर रहे हैं. एंड हियर वी आर नॉर्मल एंड वी आर नॉट एबल टू डू एनीथिंग. वी आर नॉट एबल टू कम अप विद सम काइंड ऑफ अ सॉल्यूशन. सो यहां पर क्या है कि वी शुड कम अप विद इंडियन साइन लैंग्वेज. व्हाई इंडियन साइन लैंग्वेज? बिकॉज वी हैव अ डिफरेंट कल्चर, वी हैव अ डिफरेंट कॉन्टेक्स्ट, है ना? वी कैनॉट यूज अमेरिकन साइन लैंग्वेज हियर. वी कैन यूज, but that may not be effective as that Indian Sign Language can be. So for that, Indian Sign Language Research and Training Center should be established. Research and Training Center, जहाँ पर ये देखा जाए कि sign language से कितना किसको फायदा है. Okay? In my class there was a deaf and dumb student who was studying with me up to class 12th, and he used to communicate with me in writing. He was my friend, and then after class 12th, we parted our ways. I joined Amazon College, he joined some other college, and when I joined university, there was a disability seminar, disability day seminar, and I saw him there. So he waved his hands, hello, assalamu alaikum. I said, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Then he had his sister with him. So I said to him, have you completed your graduation? He said, not yet. I believe I was doing B.Ed or M.A. मैं उससे आगे निकल चुका था. तो I said, why? They said, up to 12th we have one or the other kind of schools for disabled, but after 12th we have to go through the normal schools, and in normal schools we are not compatible. हम वहाँ पर ठीक नहीं है. We don't have good facilities there. Okay? Now resource center, what does resource center mean? Resource center में हमें क्या क्या होना चाहिए? वहाँ पर educational need जो है बच्चों की, those who are socio-economically disadvantaged, that should be catered. Special educators should be there. Special educators means those persons who are trained to teach children with disability. A normal teacher, normally trained teacher who is actually trained to teach normal children cannot teach children with disabilities. So for this training we have Rehabilitation Council of India, which actually provides certificate course, graduate course, postgraduate course to the teachers so that they can teach the children with disabilities. And assist parents, because parents are the most who suffer. Say for example, if there is a person with disability, only that parent knows what kind of a difficulty that he or she is facing. Now, measures and interventions. What are the different measures and interventions that have been taken as far as this equitable and inclusive education is concerned? One thing is that is organizing cycling and walking groups. Cycling and walking groups means if the distance is long, so we have to ensure one thing. If we cannot provide cycles, but we should have walking groups. Those who will encourage the children to go to the school. Then providing bicycles. If distance is bit longer, as far as my knowledge is concerned, that is Article 45 of the Indian Constitution, that believes that the state shall endeavor to provide free and compulsory education to all children in the age group 6 to 14, and that the school should be within the walking distance from the home of the child, and at every 1 kilometer, means in a radius of 1 kilometer there should be a primary school. And when there is no primary school in the radius, or even an elementary school or a middle school or a secondary school, the government should provide bicycles to those students who want to go to the school. Then we have open schooling system. Now the school is very distant. A child should be allowed to study from home, or we can say that the policy of earning while learning or learning while earning. For that we have NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling. उसमें आप स्कूल लेवल का जो भी कोर्स है वो ऑनलाइन ही कर सकते हैं. A child does not need to go to the school. Then technological intervention. As you know, recently we had a pandemic. Every one of us suffered. Didn't we suffer? As a teacher, I had to move from one mode to the other mode. And say for example, as a teacher, I was not well aware about the technological interventions which I should use. And even my students were not aware. Somebody had a phone and somebody had no phone. So technological intervention should also be there. If we want to reach people of far off areas, then there must be some kind of a technological intervention. Then appropriate barrier-free infrastructure. There should be appropriate infrastructure. Merely constructing a building and calling it a school or a college does not suffice the needs of the students. You know, एक बिल्डिंग खड़ी होने से कोई स्कूल नहीं बनता. स्कूल बनता है तो प्रॉपर फैसिलिटीज से. प्रॉपर फैसिलिटीज में you need proper infrastructure, you need proper equipments, you need proper staff, or we can say well-staffed school or a college. Then and then we can call it an appropriate school or an appropriate college. So in order to address the needs of the persons with disabilities or the socio-economically disadvantaged sections, we have to take into consideration the appropriateness of the infrastructure. Rather than constructing 10 schools or 10 colleges or 20 colleges, we better focus on constructing 10 good colleges and 10 good schools, so that the needs and the interests of the society जो है वो address हो सके. है ना? For example, I will construct 4 colleges or 5 colleges in a particular district. But in all the colleges we will have minimum facilities, not even minimum basic facilities. What will happen? Students will suffer, teachers will suffer, staff will suffer. So everybody will suffer. So it is better if we construct only 2 colleges with minimum basic facilities. Then one-on-one teacher and tutor and peer tutoring. One-on-one means if there's a UGC had come up with a regulation that is mentee-mentor process. In mentee-mentor, that every teacher has to mentor 25 students. Mentor for what? For giving them educational guidance, for providing them vocational guidance, for providing them personal guidance, so that they may not face any kind of issue as far as their future educational endeavors are concerned. So here a teacher will have to act as a tutor, he will have to act as a friend, he will have to act as a philosopher, and he will have to act as a guide and a facilitator. And in the same way, just I was discussing earlier that there is a National Institute of Open Schooling. Now, children under home-based education must be treated equal to any other child in the general system. Say, for example, many people even today have a doubt whether degrees of IGNO are recognized or not. Even when I was a graduate student, I used to think, if I go for the post-graduation through IGNO, is that valid or not? You must understand that IGNO is the largest open university in India, and it may be, I believe, largest open university in the world even. And it is a recognized university by UGC and AIU. AIU means Association of Indian Universities, UGC University Grants Commission. So, but one thing is which we have faced, that is a person, for example, who has pursued his degree through IGNO, and the other person who has done his degree through regular mode. There is a kind of a discrimination between the two. इसने रेगुलर मोड में किया, शायद ज्यादा पता, इसको ज्यादा पता होगा. इसने ओपन मोड में किए, maybe he may not be, because he has had limited contact with the teacher. There are limited contact classes, only Sundays, or somebody who goes through the distance education and completes his degree, he has a maximum of 40 contact classes. Whereas the person who is having a regular class or regular PG, he is having maximum number of, he or she is having maximum number of classes. So they should be treated equal. These two degrees should be treated equal. They should not get discriminated like socio-economically disadvantaged sections are getting. Now, we have one more thing, that is this new education policy has come up with, that is National Assessment Center Park. है ना, आपको park आ जाएगा. You might have heard about this term, park. है ना, park means आपको आपकी जांच की जाएगी, यानी कि आपको park आ जाएगा, तोला जाएगा, आपका merit देखा जाएगा, ठीक है. So एक एजेंसी बनाई जाएगी जिसका नाम पार्क रखा जाएगा, will formulate guidelines for recommending assessment tools for the foundational stage to the higher education stage. यानी टूल, assessment tool बनाएगी जिससे हम स्टूडेंट्स के एप्टीट्यूड को एसेस कर पाएंगे, स्टूडेंट्स को एसेस कर पाएंगे, उनकी जो कॉग्निटिव अफेक्टिव एंड साइकोमोटर डोमेन्स है, उन सब को हम एसेस कर पाएंगे. इसी तरह जो है अवेयरनेस दी जाएगी, नॉलेज दी जाएगी अबाउट द चिल्ड्रन हैविंग स्पेसिफिक काइंड ऑफ डिसेबिलिटीज, एंड gender sensitization will be also there, because this gender is a burning issue. Say, for example, if we talk about literacy, women have 14% less literacy rate than men at national level. I believe it is 67 कुछ ऐसा ही परसेंट होगा. I may not be correct here, but there is a difference of 14%, and I know, between male and female literacy rate. So if we at all want to see gender parity, so we have to first come up with some kind of a rule or some kind of a mechanism where we can balance between men and women. बराबर जहाँ काम कर सकते. तो जैसे मैंने आपको कहा था अभी कि डिसेबल्ड बच्चों के बारे में डिस्कस होता है, तो जो टारगेट ग्रुप था पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज, which NEP 2020 has also endorsed. There is physical disability, there is intellectual disability, and there is also a disability that is related to the health. For example, somebody is having mental illness, multiple sclerosis, इसी तरह Parkinson disease है, इसी तरह hemophilia, ठीक है, sickle cell disease, है ना, इसी तरह for example बाकी जो intellectual disability है, specific learning disability, autism spectrum disorders, visual impairment, hearing impairment, speech impairment, किसी भी किस्म की disability जो है, जो कि Right of Person with Disability Act 2016 ने डिस्कस की है, NEP has comprehensively discussed that and has given comprehensive suggestions and recommendations. अब जो major recommendations जो है adopted by NEP, NEP ने अगर कोई मेजर रिकमेंडेशन अडॉप्ट की है, वो वही रिकमेंडेशन अडॉप्ट की है जो कि 2016 जो है राइट ऑफ पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी एक्ट ने दी है. उसमें क्या है, इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटीज फॉर स्पोर्ट्स एंड दैट पर्सन कैन गो फॉर पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन इन पर्शियन एंड पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन इन अरबिक और इन सम अदर सब्जेक्ट. ठीक है. NCC विंग, जैसे एवरी कॉलेज इज हैविंग एन NCC विंग, डोंट वी हैव, है ना, नेशनल कैडेट कोऑप्स, है ना. तो उसमें क्या है कि everybody should be allowed to participate, and even everybody is allowed to participate, but there should be greater participation on the part of SCs and STs. इसी तरह we should have equitable based school culture, and the school culture should be such which is based on equity. It should not give supreme kind of importance to one section and discard the other section. एक section को आपने supreme importance दी और दूसरे को discard किया. वहां पर भी equity होनी चाहिए, equality as well as equity. Teacher education programs. So teacher education means what? Teacher education means that we have to educate the teachers. We have to train the teachers. When they are trained, they can better teach the student. They can use better methodology. They can prepare better resource material. For example, we have B.Ed. B.Ed we have only for the general category. In Kashmir we have a B.Ed special education, but उसका जो मैं कहूँगा कि response होना चाहिए on part of student, that is very much less, because everywhere we connect something with the job. We link degree with the job, don't we? We see the prospect. But now this national policy has discussed about special education. Earlier policies had also discussed. Now a person should go and opt for what? He should opt for B.Ed, but B.Ed special education, which is done through Composite Regional Center Pemina. I don't know whether that course is still running. You can go to the website. वहाँ पर आप graduation के बाद वो course कर सकते हैं, and that course will definitely help a person to get trained as far as teaching people with the disability is concerned. Then shorter post B.Ed certification, specialization in teaching. ठीक है. Then we have in-service teacher education programs, यानी कि those teachers who are already working in the schools, they must be some kind of a refresher course, orientation course, जहाँ पर हम बच्चों को देखें कि जहाँ पर वो उनको हम सिखाएं knowledge to teach the children with disabilities, knowledge about gender sensitization, knowledge about underrepresented groups. इसी तरह से building capacity or alternative school teachers, teaching of school subjects. Now we are coming to the end. Maybe 2 or 3 slides. One slide is there only. Support for gifted students with special talents. अब if we talk about special education includes those students who are special as far as their intellect is concerned, or who are special as far as their